Ladies, this message right here, this one is for every woman who ever cried behind closed doors and showed up like a queen the next morning. This is for the one who got betrayed, broken, left out, counted out, and still found a way to rise. Let me tell you about a woman, not a celebrity, not someone the world claps for, but a woman like you. A woman who turned her pain into her power. And if she can do it, so can you. Let's talk. Step 1. She hit rock bottom but refused to stay there. She hit rock bottom. The kind of low where everything feels like it's falling apart. You know that place, where the nights are long, the tears are quiet, and the world just keeps moving like nothing happened. She lost people she thought would never leave. She failed at things she gave her whole heart to. Her confidence shattered. Her trust gone. And every time she tried to pull herself up, something else came crashing down. The kind of pain where even breathing feels like a burden. She didn't recognize herself anymore. The strong, happy, hopeful version of her felt like a distant memory. People looked at her and thought she was fine because she wore the mask so well. But inside, she was drowning. The weight of expectations, disappointment, broken dreams, it was all too much. She had moments where she questioned everything, her worth, her purpose, her future, and honestly, she thought about giving up more times than she'd ever admit. But even in that darkness, something inside her refused to die. It was faint, buried deep, but it was there. A little whisper, a little fight, a little voice that said, "This ain't the end of you." So she laid there for a while. Yes, she cried, broke down, lost her strength, but she never lost her fire completely. Because even at rock bottom, she made one powerful choice, step 2 important. Pain became her teacher, not her excuse. Pain showed up in her life uninvited, like it does for most of us. It didn't knock gently or wait for permission. It came crashing in, flipping her world upside down. At first, she did what anyone would do. She cried, she got angry, she asked, "Why me?" She looked for someone to blame, something to point at. The pain felt unfair, cruel even. It wasn't just emotional. It was mental, spiritual, physical. It showed up in her relationships, in her self-worth, in the way she saw herself in the mirror. But then something started to shift. Somewhere in the silence, in the spaces between the heartbreak and the healing, she started to realize that this pain was trying to show her something. It wasn't just there to break her. It was trying to build her. It was revealing what needed to change. It showed her who was real and who only came around when it was easy. It exposed her patterns, her fears, her self-doubt, brought all the hidden stuff to the surface. The wounds she tried to cover, the lies she believed about her worth, the way she kept shrinking to make other people comfortable. She stopped running from the pain. She started asking it questions. What are you here to teach me? What do I need to let go of? Who do I need to become? And instead of using the pain as a reason to quit, to complain, or to stay stuck, she used it like fuel. She studied it, sat with it, learned from it. Because that pain wasn't random, it had a lesson, it had a message. And when she finally started listening, everything began to shift. Step 3 down, she stopped waiting for a savior. She became her own hero. For the longest time, she waited for someone to notice her struggle, waited for someone to show up and fix what was broken inside her. She thought maybe if she just held on a little longer, somebody would come and rescue her from the mess, from the pain, from the loneliness that crept in late at night. She waited for that one phone call, that one apology, that one person who would finally choose her, finally stay. She built her hope around other people, around the idea that someone else's love, someone else's support, someone else's strength would be enough to pull her out. But the rescue never came. The apologies didn't show up. The people she thought would fight for her, they disappeared when things got hard. And it hurt. It crushed her. Because she realized she had placed her healing in someone else's hands. She had handed over her power, hoping someone else would do for her what she hadn't yet done for herself. Stand up, take control, and believe she was worth saving. There came a moment, quiet, raw, almost sacred, where she looked around and saw nothing but her own reflection staring back. No savior, no safety net, just her. And in that moment, something powerful happened. She stopped expecting someone else to carry her through. She stopped blaming people for not being what she needed. She stopped waiting for the perfect timing, the perfect partner, the perfect breakthrough. She realized she had to become what she was searching for. The strength, it had to come from within. The love, it had to start with her. The rescue, it was hers to create. So she picked herself up, not because she felt ready, but because she finally understood no one else was coming. Step 4, she transformed her wounds into wisdom. Every wound she carried had a story, not just surface level pain, but deep, soul-cutting experiences that left marks she thought would never fade. There were betrayals that shattered her trust, words that pierced deeper than knives, moments of rejection that made her question her worth. And for a long time she hid those wounds, covered them with smiles, dressed them up with distractions, pretended they didn't affect her, but deep down they lingered. They shaped how she saw the world, how she approached love, how she protected herself. Eventually, she realized she had two choices: keep bleeding from the same wounds, or start turning those wounds into something useful. So she leaned in. Instead of running from the pain, she revisited it. She examined it. She sat with the memories she had avoided for years. She didn't do it to stay stuck in the past, but to learn from it. She wanted to understand why certain patterns kept repeating, why she kept tolerating less than she deserved, why she doubted herself every time she tried to rise. And what she found buried underneath the pain wasn't just heartbreak, it was wisdom. Each painful chapter had a message. Every setback had a hidden lesson. She learned how to recognize red flags not just in others, but in herself. She understood the value of boundaries, of self-respect, of listening to her intuition. Her wounds became her classroom, the place where she got her real education, not from books, not from quotes on social media, but from surviving what tried to destroy her. She didn't forget the pain, but she refused to let it control her. Instead, she used it like a compass, guiding her toward the kind of life, love, and peace she always deserved. Step 5, she found purpose in the middle of chaos. Chaos wasn't new to her. She had walked through seasons where nothing made sense, where every plan unraveled, every hope got delayed, and everything that felt solid suddenly fell apart. There were days when she woke up and didn't know what direction to take, when her mind was so clouded with noise and pressure and pain that even breathing felt like a task. Life came at her all at once. Financial stress, broken relationships, family drama, personal battles. It wasn't just one thing, it was everything. It felt like the ground under her feet kept shifting and she had no control over anything. In the middle of all that noise, she could have lost herself. She could have folded under the weight. But something inside her refused to settle for just surviving. She started asking questions that cut deeper than the chaos around her. Why am I here? What is this all trying to show me? What can I create out of this mess? She stopped waiting for clarity to come from outside and started digging for it inside. While the world spun in confusion, she began to carve out small moments of meaning. She listened more closely to what stirred her heart, what made her feel alive, even in the smallest ways. The chaos stripped away distractions. It forced her to look at what really mattered. She saw how temporary everything could be. Jobs, titles, people's opinions, and it woke her up. That storm, as wild as it was, helped her uncover what had always been buried beneath the noise, a sense of mission, a reason to keep going that was bigger than just comfort or success, something she could hold on to even when the world didn't clap for her. That sense of purpose didn't come in a quiet, peaceful season. It was born right in the middle of her hardest battles. Because sometimes it takes total disruption to discover what you're truly made for. Step 6, she now inspires others. She didn't set out to be an inspiration. In fact, there was a time when she didn't even believe in herself, let alone think anyone else would look up to her. She used to question her worth, wonder if her story even mattered, if her voice had any power. She walked through fire. Silently, she healed in the dark, without applause. There were nights when the tears didn't stop, mornings when she had to force herself out of bed, days when pretending to be okay was the only way to keep going, and nobody saw the behind-the-scenes struggle, the silent battles she fought when no one was checking in. But the thing is, she kept going. She didn't give up. She did the inner work. She grew through every disappointment, every heartbreak, every setback, and over time, people started to notice. Not because she shouted about her strength, but because she lived it. Because even after all she had been through, she still chose love. She still chose grace. She still showed up with light in her eyes and wisdom in her words. Her presence started to shift rooms. Her story started to give others permission to face their own. People began to lean in, not just because of her success, but because of her resilience. She wasn't perfect. She wasn't polished. She was real. And in a world full of filters and facades, her truth hit different. Other women looked at her and saw possibility. They saw proof that you can come back from anything, that you don't have to have it all together to be powerful. Her scars became symbols of survival. Her honesty became healing. She started to speak from a place of experience, not theory, not guesswork, but lived truth. The kind that can't be faked. And without even trying, just by being herself, just by refusing to stay down, she became a light for others walking through their own dark. So let me leave you with this. She wasn't born different. She wasn't handed a perfect life. She built that strength. She earned that peace. She chose to rise again and again, even when life gave her every reason to quit. She took her pain and made it power. She took her losses and made them lessons. She stopped waiting, started fighting, and became the kind of woman who doesn't just survive. She leads, she lifts, she inspires, and if she could do it with a broken heart, a tired soul, and a past full of scars, then baby girl, so can you. Your pain has a purpose. Your story isn't over. Your power is just getting started. Let the world watch while you rise.